Welcome back to We Are Tottenham TV, the only place to be on match day. And it's the 1st of January, so Happy New Year to everybody watching. And I hope you all had a wonderful Christmas. I don't know what's more shocking, that I haven't got a hangover today, or that Tottenham have actually done a transfer on the 1st of January, as we get confirmation that Brennan Johnson has indeed signed for Crystal Palace. We've got the full Here We Go from Fabrizio Romano. So Johnson, again, Ole Ole, will no longer be a song that we sing. But
when we play Palace, we can sing it.
We can, yeah, but we don't want him scoring against us. Right, we've got three lovely men joining me today. We've got Jimbo, my partner in crime. We've got the wonderful Dermatron from THFC Till We Die. And we've got the award-winning Harry Scarf as well with us. Jimbo, first of all, how are you?
Yeah, Happy New Year, Harry. I haven't said it to you yet. And Happy New Year to all, thank you. Happy New Year to all the people watching. I'm all right, darling. Thank you.
Good. I mean, I obviously know that because we live together, but I just thought I'd be polite and ask. Dermatron, I don't live with you, so how are you?
If you did, that'd be very weird because I haven't seen you yet. But no. That would be a weird one. I don't know what Jim will have to say about that one, but yeah, we'll move on smoothly. Yeah, Happy New Year to everyone in the chat and you two as well, and to Harry as well. Hope you have a great 2026. Look, very quickly, Brennan Johnson, thank you for your services, but good luck with the rest of your career. And thanks again for having me on.
You're welcome. And I think, Brennan, that's a great move for him. I think he's going to thrive at Palace. Harry, how the devil are you? Happy birthday, Happy New Year, Happy Christmas. All that has elapsed since I last.
Yeah, exactly. Full Monty. Let's hope that Spurs can produce the full Monty on the pitch tonight. But thank you, firstly, for having me. I want to wish everyone a Happy New Year. There's an amazing channel here at WeAreTottenham TV that's thriving, rightly so. Great to see, and all you guys on the panel as well. Always a pleasure to share a stage with you. Looking forward to making 2026 a special year, hopefully for all of us, for all our families, and hopefully for Tottenham Hotspur on the football pitch. Just briefly on Brennan Johnson, wish him all the best. Yeah, of course, to me it doesn't feel right, but I do want to wish him all the best. I think that's the right thing to do. Deliver the first trophy of my lifetime, many others too, and just gave everyone such a special night, the greatest night in my life from a Spurs point of view. So that goal alone, of course, Tottenham's top scorer last year. It's a little bit ironic that Tottenham were looking for goals, struggling for goals, and we still our top scorer of last year. I'm sure we'll get into all of that. But most importantly, Happy New Year, and thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure. But yeah, I suppose we should really touch on Brennan Johnson while we're sort of got him in our head. I mean, there's been a lot of people using the stat of, hey, this is the third year in a row or third succession that we've managed to get rid of our top goal scorer. Obviously, we got rid of Harry Kane, we got rid of Heung-min Son, and now people are putting Brennan Johnson in the category, even though, I think it's a bit of a far reach. But I mean, Jimbo, what's your thoughts on Brennan going, and how do you think he'd get on at Palace?
Well, I don't think he fits in with Frank. I don't think he suits his systems. He never looks good when he comes on the pitch. He looks lazy. He done well for us last year, and we got a lot to thank him for the final, and probably kept us up with his goals last year because there were a lot of points without him. So I'll always be grateful for him for that. But I'm kind of glad to see the back of him. It just seems like a wasted spot to me. Not being horrible to him, I just don't think he fits. I just don't think he fits in. Every time he comes on, he doesn't look good. So look, I wish him all the best at Palace. And it frees up a spot for someone to come in.
Yeah.
So I think it's best all round for him. He's not playing. He's getting bit parts. So it's I think it's good for him and good for us.
Yeah, Dermot, how do you feel about Johnson's departure?
Look, I was a big fan of Brennan Johnson for a good couple of years. I backed him when everybody else was against him, and I thought he had the talent. And if you see when he plays for Wales, he's a totally different player to what we've seen at Tottenham. He attacks, he drives at defenders, he cuts in on the wing, he scored some brilliant goals for Wales. I just feel at Tottenham probably wasn't the club for him. Maybe everyone can go to a club and maybe the player would start well, but he just never fitted in. And I just feel with Kulu coming back, with Kudu's doing so well in the right, where is he going to play him? And Thomas Frank did want him at Brentford before he came to Tottenham. And I think, it's quite ironic that Thomas Frank comes in and then sells him
Yeah.
But look, thank you for what you've done. Your goals we've got good memories of you. But I wish you well in the rest of your career. And I think he's gone to a good fit at Palace. I really do. I think he's going to do very well there. But very ironically, Glasgow might not be there next season. So what happens if the next manager comes in and doesn't fancy him? So either that or Glasgow is staying, and nobody knows it yet. So, but for me, thank you, Brennan. Good luck and wish you well.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of, a lot of Palace fans, Harry, are taking from that maybe Glasgow is going to stay. Because like Dermot said, if someone like Johnson goes to Palace, a new manager comes in that doesn't fancy him, don't like the way he plays, doesn't fit with his system, then he's made the move. I mean, what's your thoughts on Johnson and the move?
It's difficult. I agree with what you said in the intro, Kate, that what you say about Johnson, it's the right move for him. I do think that the way they play counter-attacking football, it just feels right for Johnson. And, when Frank comes to the club and, I remember sitting down on a YouTube video at the start of the year and going, what some of the players that thrived and what would thrive under a new manager in Frank and what players would struggle. And, I highlighted Johnson as one of those players that, I thought would potentially struggle, and not many. Some of those players in there were wrong, but that was one of the correct ones. A lot of people kind of said it because, his role in an Ange team is just totally different to his role within the Frank team. He was used as that kind of player, right place, right time. He's not that player that takes on a man. And what gives me a lot of hope, I know it's on the opposite flank, but like Odebear comes on against Palace and drop of a shoulder and takes on players. I haven't seen that for him, or anyone really do that. So that was a real surprise. But on Johnson, I wish him well. It's difficult because of the moment he delivered. Sometimes it's hard to take the emotion out of it. I think for Palace, I'm surprised they spent that amount of money. I think in the end, we can be fairly content. What did Fabrizio Romano say? Italian journalist, I think he said about 33.5 million, if I'm not mistaken. The end fixed fee, so up front, I believe that it will be. So, I think that's a positive because it's similar, I think maybe a little bit more than their record signing to date. Christian Benteke and Steve Parish said about 3 or 4 years ago that, nothing will ever, get close to that in the recent years, and it has. So that's a big surprise. And at Tottenham, Kate, lastly, we've held on to players for too long, and they've either devalued massively or we've let them go for free. So as much as I like Johnson, and I think it doesn't feel right to me, if I'm honest, but part of me thinks, hang on, Harry, if we wait until the summer, we probably get 20-25 million. And again, we've lost money, which we do so many times. I think there's a lot of problems at the moment upstairs at the club. I think we're starting to see some things fall apart. I think we're starting to see, the cracks emerge that are there and ever present. But I think they might have made the right call on this one. But either way, I wish him the best, because it's not just the goal that he scored, whether it's his goal, own goal. I think that's irrelevant. The point is what it created when the trophy, that trophy parade in Bilbao. There's a lot come from that for us Tottenham fans. Also, he was a top scorer last year, and Jimbo's right. His goals, like it or not, kept us in the league. So I wish him all the best. Feels strange, but probably the right thing to do.
Yeah, I agree. And I kind of said to Jim, he really does divide the fan base, and so many people scapegoat him and go into him. So I'm kind of glad for him that he's got the move to somewhere where I hope he'll be appreciated, because I think there's a great little player in there. I just don't think he suits Frank's style of football.
The thing is, Kate, what people have got to think of, right, and what Spurs have got to think of, if we want to get back to being a top 4 team, right, you're not going to do it with players like Brennan Johnson. I'm sorry, but you're not. Them top 4, them top teams now are so good, and we are behind them. And it just proves, with the players we got, we're not on nowhere near their level. So we have got to change players, and he's just one of many. So it's just a fact. We're not going to get back there with players like Brennan Johnson.
Team news isn't out yet, but this is my predicted 11. I've gone for Vicario in goal. Porro, I've gone for Romero to come straight back in. I'll go into that in a second. Van der Ven, Spence, Paulinho, Bentancur, Gray, Kudus, Richarlison, and Odegaard. Dermot, obviously Romero comes back tonight, but Danso ended up with man of the match against Crystal Palace, and I have to say I thought he was excellent. Do you see Romero walking straight in tonight, or has Danso done enough to keep his space?
I see Romero coming back in unfairly, though, because I thought Danso was fantastic. But we do have a bit of a tightrope to work. Mickey van der Ven, Porro, and I think Richarlison, I think, are all one booking away from suspension. So would you drop Van der Ven tonight and put Danso in his place and starting with Romero. That would be my sort of way of going about it. But I would, yeah, I think I would do that, Kate, because I wouldn't want to lose Mickey van der Ven. With the games we've got coming up, I don't want him being suspended. I think we look more calm in defence with Danso and Mickey van der Ven than we do with Romero and Mickey van der Ven. I just feel Romero brings a little bit of chaos into that back four. And I just looked at the Palace game and I thought, that back four looks calm. It looks calm. It looks collected. Everyone knows what they're doing. And that's the calm and influence you get from Mickey van der Ven as captain. I just feel Romero's, though we all love him, and yes, he is frustrating. Yes, we all think he should come down a little bit. But yeah, I would start him tonight. I would bring him straight back in. But what do you do with Mickey van der Ven? Do you drop him for this game? Do you give him a rest? Do you start Dan? So you've got Dragson back as well, back in the fold as well. So do you give him a bit of game time tonight? These are the decisions Thomas Frank's been paid to make. So it's down to him to make the right ones. But I don't think you'd be too far out with that lineup, Kate, if I'm being honest.
I had two questions. One was, is Romero going to walk back in? And second was, do you rest Van der Ven for this game? Do you rest him for the Sunderland game? I mean, Harry, how do you see Frank sort of working the defence? Because I have to say, against Palace, I thought our defence, like Dermot said, they look really calm. They look really organised. It's one of the best defensive displays I've seen in a while.
First, yes, I agree with that. Firstly, I believe at midnight tonight, the threshold is changed for the yellow cards, and we've got 5 players at a risk. If they get yellow carded in this game, they miss Sunderland. And I think on that list is Porro, Van der Ven, Bentancur, can't quite remember the others, but a few. I think one is Kevin Danso as well. So, 2 of our 3 centre-backs are on there. And what that means is they've missed that Sunderland game. So it's something to bear in mind, and that will come into consideration for Thomas Frank. Bentancur, I think is definitely in there. There's quite a few, mainly saturated in that back line. So Frank will know about that, be wary of that. Of course, we want to get the win, but also protecting players from suspension, protecting them from injury. All these things will come into consideration. Big shout out to Kevin Danso. I thought we dealt with John Philip Matata very well. And don't get me wrong, it was 50-50. Sometimes, Matata beat Danso, but also Danso remained calm and got back at him. And Igor Thiago is a physical striker, and that suits Kevin Danso. And I just watched that game against Bournemouth, and they just couldn't cope with Sharda and Thiago. Whatever Brentford managed to do, Ball didn't have the answer. And I tried to look at that, and I come to the conclusion that it was pace as well as the physicality, mainly the pace. So that tells me that Van der Ven has to be in there. It does bring about it, a Kevin Danso type game. Having said that, I think that Romero is very good in 1v1 duels. I don't buy that we're better without him. I think people put 2 and 2 together, not for the first time, and then that conclusion and that kind of false claim is shut down when we get a result. When Romero comes back in, and when we don't, when we miss him, etc. I think it's very easy to look at it and go, what we should be able to do is say, look, credit to Kevin Danso, but also, recognise your place. You are the 3rd or 4th choice Spurs centre-back. You're a really good, reliable squad option to have. Not dissing him at all. Romero is a better defender, someone said it there, in terms of progressive passing and what he brings to the game. But at the same time, I do watch the game, gave away there, with my eyes open, and, I don't kind of wear a blindfold or rose-tinted glasses, or, even, sometimes I can put Spurs hat on. But you look at it and go, also, Romero, we know about his mistakes. We know how rash he can be. And Danso maybe is a little bit more reliable in that sense, but it doesn't mean he's a better quality player. That makes sense. Do you know what I'd actually do lastly? I'd probably play a back 3, because Brentford just seemed to have a lot of numbers in attack. Against Bournemouth, it was always 3v2. Let's put 3 in that back line. I know we got the result against Palace and we looked okay in my view. I think we actually looked all right. And not many people do agree, but you don't want to fix something that's not broken, but at the same time, where we are in the league, we have to start trying new things within reason, not experiment too much. I do think Frank is doing this. That could be costing us. That is true. But I think a back 3 could really help. I think it gives the fullbacks more license to go forward. I think it just improves, hopefully, us going forward. And last thing we'll say, Kate, is I analysed one of our problems. We go long from goal kicks, and we leave like 5 defenders back. Like against Palace, there's 5 Palace players back from our goal kick, and there was only 4 Spurs players going forward. So when that goal kick goes long, we never win the first header or second header. We're relying on miracles to keep hold of the balls. That's why build-up play is so poor. Again, Frank will be very wary of that, but I think it's the way that he sets us up.
Yeah, well, we have the actual starting lineups just come through. So let me get rid of this banner. I don't know what I'm doing. I've just pressed loads of buttons and everyone's gone really small. So I hope it hasn't affected like anyone watching, but I literally, people are tiny on my screen, which is quite funny. But anyway, that's enough of me waffling on about buttons that I've pressed. Jimbo, the starting 11 is Vicario in goal. I'm just going to read it down as it's written down. We've got Palhinha starting, Richarlison starts, Gray starts, Romero is captain, Kudus, Porro, Spence, Odebert, Bentancur, Van der Ven. I think that is actually spot on to the one that I picked. I don't think there's anything different. And on the bench, we've got Kinski, Austin, Dragushin, Danso, Tell, Davis, Mawani, Scala, and Eloesi. Thoughts, Jim, on the lineup? Pleased with it?
Not including the injured players. It's probably our better lineup. So he's going out to win it. Look, I see people writing in the chat about the yellow cards. You can't worry about the yellow cards. You just got to play players, and you've got to try. I hope they're a bit sensible. It's sooner or later they've got to play, and they're still going to be on a yellow card. So, yeah. I mean, the important game is your next game. And our next game is tonight against Brentford. So we want to win that and then see after where we are with players to go to the next game. But look, it's probably the strongest squad for me, especially when you read the bench out.
Well, obviously, Bergval's missing because they did say he was doubtful for this game. So
that's what I said, apart from the injured players, because if the injured players were fit, it'd probably be a different team. But look, I'm happy with it. I think we'll beat them tonight. I think we've got their number with Frank, so I'm not worried. I'm not worried at all.
I mean, I made a video the other day, Dermot, where it's a short from one of my streams where I sort of said at the minute. No, I wasn't drunk. I was sober. It wasn't last night's one. But where I said the words that I never thought would ever cross my lips, that Richarlison's a little bit undroppable at the minute because he's the one who's finding the back of the net. What are you making of the lineup? And do you agree about Richie? Because obviously Mawani misses out tonight and Richarlison starts.
Yeah, look, the lineup is what it is. I think Jim's right. You have to pick your strongest team. I think this team's good enough to go and beat Brentford. I think Brentford, we haven't lost at their ground, I think, in 9 games or something like that. It's in the Premier League and Championship when we played them in the League Cup as well a couple of years ago. Richarlison, look, he's in a good bit of form at the moment. He is getting the goals in, but I just thought putting Morani on the left really left him exposed out there. He's not a winger. He's a striker. That's what we bought him for. So I would like to put him up front tonight. I would have put him up front and put Richie on the bench and see what he could have done. And look, Richie divides a lot of attention within the fan base as well. He's not the greatest striker in the world. Yes, he scored 2 goals, 2 tight offsides. I think the first one was really tight. He was unlucky, but I would have started Colo myself up front. I would have given him the number 9 shirt and let him see what he can do, especially with Kudus and Odebert on the wing.
Then next season, Dermot, them goals will be given.
Yeah, that's true, Jim. That is so true.
Possibly.
That's so true.
It should be for me. I've always said to Kate, any part of a striker is behind the defender. It shouldn't be offside. As long as one part of him is behind the defender, it should be onside. And it's by doing the rule that they're doing, it just spoils the game. You lose so many goals. We would have won 3-0 the other day. If the rule that's coming out next year would have been
out this year. Comes out. It's Arsene Wenger's as requested. It's not been fully approved yet.
I think they've approved it, mate.
I don't think so. It's still under review, I think. But
they're chalking off so many goals. With this silly 1 millimetre offside, your toes offside. So it's ridiculous.
I mean, we can go back, can't we, Jim? Back in the day where the attacking side did get the advantage.
Yeah,
if there was a tight decision, you always gave advantage to the attacking side.
Yeah.
But look, this team should win tonight. We should go up there, rock up there. We're full of confidence after beating Palace. Go and get 3 points. Let's start 2026 in the right way. And let's start off with a win. But VAR needs to go. It really needs to go. It's killing the game.
Yeah. Harry, obviously, Dermot said there that he would have started Moani. I think he said up front. I kind of think that would be harsh on Richarlison at the minute. And I'm not, look, people always criticise me for being too harsh on Richarlison, but at the same time, I give it the credit where it's due. And I think at the minute, I thought he was good against Palace. And yes, he does need to sort of sort out where he is positioning. But do you think that would have been a bit harsh on him? And also, any other thoughts on the lineup?
I think the lineup's good. My only concern, firstly, is that the midfield is defensive, but Bobo can only assume that's a precaution. Frank said he would be okay. He would have guessed that was his assumption yesterday. He said, I think he said something like, I'm 95% sure he'd be okay. It turns out that, well, he might be okay, but he's not in the lineup anyway. So there's maybe more of a precaution, even if he has kind of passed that green light. So that's the only concern. Where are we going to create? But like I said earlier, it's such a problem with the build-up. When you have that many, players in offensive positions from your own goal kick, you just don't win the first header, you don't win the second header. How are we going to create? Because Thomas Frank doesn't like to play through a team centrally because he views that as too high risk. So we just set ourselves up not to score goals. That's for me the number one problem at the moment, whoever's playing up front. So Richarlison, Wani, whoever it is, right? The goal kick goes long. Teams are having 6, 7 in Palace's case because they're more of a defensive team, 8 players back, and Spurs, for some reason, we have got 5 defenders all the time, 4 defenders at least, all around the goalkeeper, even though we don't play short. I don't know what the idea is, maybe to suck strikers in, but the point is at the moment we've just set up not right as much as I like Thomas Frank. That's something that needs addressing. They build up players, the number one issue to where you don't create chances and you don't score goals, and we're still our top scorer from last year. But again, a separate thing. But no, you're right with Richarlison. Okay, I think that it would be harsh on him, but Moani, whenever he's played, has impressed me. I look at Moani and go, do you know what? You are a really good striker, and we can get something out of you. I think his ability is wasted. I do honestly believe that on that left-hand side. A lot of people go, yeah, but he played a key part in the goal against Palace, and he absolutely did. He kept that corner alive. Really good delivery from Porro. He keeps it alive. Richarlison plays the biggest part for me in the assist to Archie Gray for his first senior goal. But that comes from not open play. From open play, and Moani is not effective on that left-hand side, and that is where, I don't think he should be playing. But at the moment, football is about numbers. It's about goals. It's about assists. It's about winning games. That's my argument with Johnson last year, right? He didn't take on his player, and for the longer term, it's a concern. If a player's not playing well, then the statistics will catch up with them, for example. But goals and assists win you games. Johnson done it last year. And this year, Richarlison's doing that. I mean, I can't believe if you look at Richarlison's numbers. I mean, you watch him, right? The problem is if Richarlison doesn't score, he's one of those that the all-round game isn't there. It looks like either he's, doing really well and scores wonder goals, or he's playing Sabutio. There's no in between with Richarlison. Literally like a balloon. It bounces off him sometimes, like you wouldn't believe, like a repelling magnet. Or he plays really well and scores a wonder goal. He doesn't do things the easy way. Richarlison has more chance scoring over a kick than a tap in 2 yards out. But the point is, he is our number one striker. I think we can do better and should be doing better longer term. For now, I think he's the best of an okay bunch. I wouldn't say a bad bunch because that wouldn't be fair. But it's good to have competition, Richarlison and Wani, and I like Solanke. And I think, do you know what? When Solanke comes back, in my eyes, he should be the number one striker. Of course, has to earn the stripes, earn that position. I do believe in that. But I don't buy that Solanke isn't top to its quality. Deep down, I think he proved at Bournemouth. I think he can prove that he has got it in him, and he suits the Frank system, balls in the box. For now, Richarlison, number one striker. Boy, could we do with goals tonight, but we rely on miracles or set pieces to score our goals because the build-up play isn't there because of the way we're set up.
Yeah. I agree with everything you said there. Dermot, obviously, go on.
You've got to think when you say about he's wasted on the left. He probably is wasted on the left, Harry. But you've got to think that Frank can only work with what he's got. He's not had a winger yet. So he will bring in a left-sided winger, I'm sure, a proper winger. So we'll see going forward after this window. And I think we need this window and the summer window, to really start shaping the team. So, but I'm convinced we're here bringing a left-sided winger.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I hope so. Although I have to say, Odobert looked excellent when he came on against Palace. He was one of the highlights for me. But Dermot, obviously, feel free to talk about Odobert as well. But how nice was it to see Archie Gray as well grab a goal? Dele Alli was the youngest player to score in the Premier League for us in 2016 against Palace, and then Gray pops up with a goal as well. So how good was that?
I was so pleased for him after all the sort of blame he got for the goal against Forest, which it wasn't his fault at all. I've stated that. I think that fall mainly on Vicario. I was so pleased for him, and that he's played well this season, Archie Gray. He's a good player, and I know we paid a lot of money for him, but anytime he's come in, he's never let us down. He's always played well. Odebear as well. I thought when he came on, he was electric.
Yeah.
And I don't think we saw the best of Odebear. He came, he got injured, and every time he's on that left, he's always excited me. The first moment he came on, when he made his debut, I was excited by him. I thought, here's a player. Come on, here's a player who can attack his man. And that's what we want. We want our wingers to attack the fullbacks and get crosses in. And he does that. He should have scored. Of course, he hit the post against Palace with a brilliant shot, by the way.
Yeah.
And I'm really pleased for him. I'm really pleased for him. And Archie Gray as well. I think the youngsters have done so well. Bergville, Archie Gray, Odebear. And if we're building a team around them three and adding more experienced players in there and a proper number 9, do you know what? I think we're heading in the right direction. And yes, we can all be a bit frustrated with Thomas Frank and the way we're playing. But I think if we have a good January and a really good summer, get rid of the bad players, bring in some decent upgrades, I think we're on the cusp of something beautiful at Tottenham. And yeah, if you've got players like Bergville, Odebear, Archie Gray, you've got Dragoson, you've got Danso as well. You know, Jed Spence. I don't know what. I'm really looking forward to 2026. There's something in the air for me. FA Cup. I keep saying it. I've been saying it since the start of the season. This is our year to win the FA Cup. It's a travesty. I was a teenager the last time we won that trophy. I mean, there's fathers and sons that Harry's never seen us win an FA Cup.
I know.
It was our trophy. For years, it was our trophy.
Yep. Absolutely, it was. I mean, Jimbo, when Odebear smashed that ball and it hit the inside of the post, you had a bit of a meltdown and said every other team, when it is the inside of the post, it goes in. But not Spurs. But I mean, he did look really good when he came on against Palace. So I'm hoping that he's not just going to be sort of that he can do it from the off rather than come on as an impact sub.
Yeah, the thing was, it really did hit the inside of the post as well. It weren't like it was more inside than outside, but I think it was the power behind it. I think if it had been a bit softer, it might have gone in. But I was gutted for him. But look, he looked good when he came on. He needs to be let loose, doesn't he? He needs shackles off and just go and do your thing. And if you mess up, you mess up, you know. But he come on, he looked electric. I've not seen him look like that in any time he's played for us. Maybe against Everton, he come on, he looked good because we was at the game, if you remember, Kate. Because we said he looks a good prospect. But look, he just needs to let loose and do his thing. And if he makes some mess ups, he makes some mess ups. But I just want to see him do his thing. You know, they say in training he's the most skillful player.
That was Odebear's debut. We saw him, wasn't it? Yeah, he was. He did look very good. But look, let's have a quick. I'll just have to put the Brentford team up quickly. Share this tab instead. Has that worked? Yes. It's difficult to see the Brentford one. We've got Kelleher in goal, Rico Henry, Chris Ajer, Nathan Collins, Michael Coyote, Jordan Henderson, Yarmouk, Yanelt, Sharda, Thiago, and Lewis Potter. Harry, obviously, they've got a lot of experience there. And like you say, Igor has proved to be a bit of a revelation. He's a very good striker.
He is. He's done, really well ultimately. And I don't like to make comparisons to like Richardson's really good in form, but someone like Thiago, his all-round game is just, second to none. It's so much better. He's a really good striker and he's in great form. And it's not just coincidence. It's only gonna, push on for him and for Brentford right now. The kind of partnership of Sharda and Thiago, we saw what he's capable of in the last game against Bournemouth. It was really strong. It's something for Tottenham to be careful of course. Sharda's been linked to Spurs before. I mean, that left-hand side, I'd rather bought him in than no one. I didn't want him at the time, but I look back and go, literally, we had one player in Werner whose loan ended. We loaned Solomon out and we let someone go. Probably all the right decision, some would say, and I think it'd be fair. But then we bring no one else in. That's just means a failure from upstairs. I agree with Jim. Well, actually, agree with all of you, actually, to be honest with you. I agree with all of you that, I think we're in a good place right now. we can be in a good place right now as a club if a few things come together. I don't think it's quite doom and gloom that everyone makes out just because people look at the table and people look at the stats and people want to win now. Success takes time. However, I do have my concerns about upstairs, but I'll let the January window do the talking. And with Johnson, how many times we hold on to a player, and their value instantly goes down and we make the wrong choice. So I see that as a positive thing. I really do. But in Brentford, we've got to look, and be careful with what we're facing because Brentford are a strong attacking team. They're good at home. Henderson in there, for example, brings the experience. They've got the likes of Sharda for the creativity, Thiago for the finishing. So it's going to be a good game for sure, but it's one that we have to be winning. We usually go, okay, a point's not too bad. Brentford are good at home, but where we are in the league, we feel like we have to get a result. It's a pump up. I feel positive. I think we can and will get a result. I won't give anything away, but we have to realise and give respect to Brentford, but also try and get a result. But generally, I just will say, I think with Frank as well, we've got to be patient. We've got a problem as a football club and as supporters and as individuals if we're judging someone after 4 or 5 months and going, they're not right, when for me, the biggest problem at the club has been because we've gone through managers like you wouldn't believe, Watford and Chelsea level. Chelsea have parted ways in Maresca today because of what's gone on apparently behind the scenes. And that's for me the reason why they won't push on now as a football club under Bowley. And Nuno's the same with Forest. Their careers ended, judged on the fact of what something's happened off the pitch. You have a problem when a manager's been sacked, by the way, with that. And we don't want to fall into a trap as Tottenham. The point is, whether Frank's the right man or not, we've got to give him time to prove why. And I think he's been proper stitched up. I think he's been failed from upstairs. I think the problems are bigger than you believe. Conte, said it how it was, said a lot of problems. And that's the thing, right? We want to be told all things are rosy. Lastly, Kate, we told by Paratici, told by Johan Langer that everything was rosy. And as we found out just a few weeks later, it was a load of PR, which we expected. The club do it a lot. It's a load of rubbish, really, to put it kindly. And I'd rather be told, look, the club are not in a good state right now. It's going to take a year, 2, 3, however long it takes to turn it around. But instead, we're gaslighted, really. We're lied to our face, treated as like customers rather than, I honestly think, and some of you saying there about Frank stitched up, I think he's been stitched up, absolutely. When you let 3 left wingers go and you don't bring one in, that has been stitched up to fail as a manager. We're seeing exactly the same over Glasner at Crystal Palace, hence why they pulled their finger out and got on with business really early on. The point is at Tottenham, I just cannot see how Frank is the number one problem, and it's very easy to do. So you've got to look around a little bit and go, it's the same people upstairs that have been here, for over 2 decades. And for me, just you've got a problem, right? Lastly, you've got a big problem, right? And everyone else changes. And one group of people stays the same, and there's fans are sitting there going, I wonder who the problem is. I wonder why this isn't working. For me, it's just crystal clear. I think you give Frank the benefit of the doubt. I think we give him time to turn it around. He's made mistakes, absolutely, such as build-up play I mentioned. It's really poor, needs addressing. But I just don't know why we're making a decision after 4 months. He's got very similar characteristics to Pochettino. If you make a decision that quickly, I'm not saying he's Sir Alex Ferguson, right? But we don't get a Sir Alex Ferguson in today's football with a win now generation, with a win now modern society that just, boom, we want success straight away. It takes time.
Yeah, I completely agree, Harry. Someone's just said that Alistair Gold is reporting that Tell and Takai could both leave on loan. I have heard that Tell possibly could be sold, but look, we'll have to wait and see. I also want to say
the person who said, am I watching EastEnders? I said, it's keeping me, are we keeping you up? No, we did a 5-hour stream last night past midnight for the people who were at home, which we were busy. It was a good stream, and I am really tired. And I've got the Liverpool game on. That's why I keep looking when they nearly score.
Yeah, so, we did a New Year's.
Right.
We had a New Year's Eve stream last night, and there was some very bad behaviour on there. Drunkenness. I don't know. I don't remember, so it can't have been me.
Oh no!
But, yes, happy New Year to everyone again. But yes, someone asked if we were a couple of divs maybe. But yes, Jimbo and I are a married couple. Kuva just says, I didn't recognise you, Kate, without your sherry. Big up, Kuva. Yeah, the less said about last night, the better. If we don't talk about it, then it never happened. It's as easy as that. But Dermot, there's been a lot of criticism as well that a lot of people saying Frank plays for a draw. The whole Paulinia and Bentancur combo has been called too defensive. I'm not sure I buy that he plays for a draw. I just think we're lacking creativity. What do you think?
Look, Thomas Frank can only build with what the tools he's got. Somebody said it in the chat. He he's building with little tools, and I agree with that. I've got no problem playing the double pivot away from home. Not a problem at all. I think it's great to have a base there, front of the back four, but I just want to be a bit more attacking at home, a little bit more adventurous. And if we see that, then I think I'd be happy. I wouldn't have this sort of Thomas Frank has to prove to me that he's the manager to take us forward. I'm not Frank out. And yes, we can all get angry with defeats and we can all be emotional when we lose. And I just want Frank to prove me wrong. He's the manager to take us forward. You look at Keith Andrews at Brentford. Nobody expected him to do as well as he's doing at the moment. And I know a little bit about Keith Andrews because of his time with the Republic of Ireland coach, being assistant manager to our couple of managers, our national team. And also, if you look at Nathan Collins, you look at Kelleher again, a very good goalkeeper who wanted at Tottenham instead of Kingsgate. You got Nathan Collins making his 100th appearance for Brentford tonight, a very capable defender. I think great as a squad player with the Tottenham, but I think he's doing brilliant at Brentford. And you do look at the midfield. You look at Jordan Henderson pulling the strings in that midfield when it comes in. You've got Thiago doing very well up front. How he hasn't got into the Brazilian side is beyond me. And I think by picking a double pivot away from home, it just gives our defenders a little bit more freedom to defend. And I think it gives our wing backs a little bit more freedom to go up, push up against their wing backs and keep them back. Keep their back. What we did against Palace in the second half, we just, Porro and Spence just pushed up and they stopped Klein and Mitchell from attacking us, which they were doing in the first half. But at home, just be a little bit more adventurous. That's all I'd say. I mean, at home, it's our fortress. It's our place to defend. Once you see us attacking, the fans will get behind that. And once the fans get behind that, nobody can beat us at home. And I think away, weren't we top of the away league on equal points with Arsenal?
We were. I don't know if are we still there?
Yeah, I think so up there. Right?
Yeah. Wow. And if we get our home form sorted out and we keep playing like we are at home, I think Europe could be on our aim this year, which I didn't think we would be, but before Christmas, and all the results were happening. But I just leave Thomas Frank to do what Thomas Frank does best. But he's got to have the tools to do the job. And I agree exactly everything that Harry said about the ownership and everything. I totally agree. But we have to see what happens this January. This month for me proves to me if this is ENIC 2.0 or it's the same old ENIC. And then we'll know properly after that where we're going. But let Frank cook.
I think everybody's kind of saying that it's pivotal this window for
Leeds have just scored. Oh no, it's offside.
Well, thanks for the breaking news, Jimbo. Build us up and then drop us like a bag of old potatoes.
It didn't look offside to me.
Yeah, but you haven't got your glasses on. Jimbo, this comment here, I left it up because I wanted to get your opinion because you're quite an advocate for Matthias Tell. Do you think it's criminal that he's not getting any game time? Do you think it's because he's going? I mean, what's your thoughts?
I don't know, Kate, but I think that he's looked better and better the more he's played, and then all of a sudden he gets a couple of cameos. He does really well, and then you don't see him for 3 or 4 games. And I just think I agree with that comment. I think it's criminal. I mean, it's not like the front line are pulling up trees. He scores all sorts of goals. He scores like bangers. He gets in the box. If you watch his play, he gets himself in some great positions. And I think it's criminal that he's not getting game time. And then there's got to be a reason why, but I don't know why. But I would have played him a lot more because I just think he's looked better and better. And he scored some crucial goals for us when he's come on.
Yeah, I mean, what do you make of Tell, Harry? I think we've had this discussion before. I'm sure we have because Tell gets brought up all the time. But he's another one. It seems the fan base either hate him or they like him. There's no sort of he's really divisive.
This annoys me. You should never hate any player. I just don't know why you do. That's the number one problem, and I say it so many times. It annoys me just before we get to tell. I'm a Spurs season ticket holder. Now, when I work, I do go a little bit less, but I still do have the season ticket. But every time I go to home games, just people in and around me, and it's not just like it's the same group of people. It's the same when it's different people. It's just some of the things that they say about the likes of, in particular, we won't have it anymore, with Johnson, with Richarlison, with Tell, players like that, and they bring their families into it. The other day, the guy was bringing pets into it and things like that. People being really, really nasty and wishing the absolute worst away from the football pitch. That's the problem we have as a fan base, to take it out on the individual. With Tell, of course, I agree with Jimbo, and in terms of, from the human eye perspective, I think Tell's got better every game he's played. He's clearly grown in confidence. I think also away from him, and it kind of does link with him, but I think as fans in football, I think we have to recognise that some players, and I think we know this deep down, but some players will always just be better off the bench. There's some players that just won't have the same impact when they start as when they come on. We have that, and we've had that in football for a long time. We used, unfortunately, the guys from over the road in Arsenal, Martinelli, for example. He's a good player, no doubt about it, but if he starts, there's not that same impact as when he comes off the bench, when he's got the explosive pace, looking to make an impact. And so many players are just more influential off the bench, and someone like Wilson Odobert, to bring him into it, I like Odobert, and I would start him in this game, yes, and I would, just because I want him to prove me and others wrong. But I like Odobert, but I just think he's a player that maybe impacts the game off the bench a little bit more. With Tell, we should definitely have more game time. I wonder what will happen in January. But again, if we sell him, it's a failure of the club. You sign him, then you sell him instantly and get nothing out of him. So as a club, I just think we've got to have some kind of structure. We just lack that structure. And even smaller clubs that are Brentford and Brighton, anything can happen to their manager. They're gone tomorrow morning. They have a structure. They cope with that, and they're just ready to go. And their next manager they have in, they're set up because the club's in a good place. Everything's been left in a tidy place, even if they're struggling on the football pitch. And that's the thing with Tottenham. We just go for managers, a complete contrast in style. It's an absolute mess when they come in. And you're all right that we cannot judge, of course, this new look board until after the January window. But for me, the cracks that were ever present, like I said earlier, are starting to appear. Paratici, Florentino, bottom right of Serie A. How can that be a more attractive project than Tottenham? There's a problem at Tottenham if you go into the bottom of the league, because they could get relegated. It's a huge possibility. I think they will, wherever they do, right? And he's not the only one. And Solomon, by the way, as well, was expected to go to Fiorentina, which tells me that Paratici is doing other business away from Tottenham, which is interesting and isn't good on the club's part. Either way, I think Paratici's looked at it and gone, I'm homesick, he's got power, and I'm not happy with how things are going at Tottenham. But I don't want to get too negative. It is a pump up, and I just think generally we need more positivity, actually, to completely contradict myself right now. Every single player at this football club plays for us and is a professional footballer for a reason. Whether they're right for the system or not, whether we can do better. I like Richarlison, but we can do, for example, even better. But I just think generally we disrespect players beyond belief at this club. I think it's time we give them an opportunity. We give the manager an opportunity. I think it's my generation where the problem is they come in now and go, boom, you got to win straight away. Won a trophy last year. Why has Frank not won a trophy already, even though it wouldn't be possible? That's what the expectation is like. For me, success takes time. I do believe that Frank's the guy, even if he's not. Let's give him a season. As Jimbo said, at least give him one window to prove that. And the summer, yes, he has the window, but absolutely he's still trying to find his best 11. Of course, that is on him as well. But I just think from upstairs, they have let Frank down, and they've let so many managers down. Harry Kane down once he left. But I am going around the houses. The point is, Jimbo hits the nail on the head, even more than I've done. I think he says it better than I do, absolutely. That Tell deserves more minutes. And how do you know if a player's not right or they're not ready and they don't perform? Lastly, Dane Scarlett comes on, Copenhagen, does really well, scores and wins a penalty, and we never see him again. As much as I like Frank, I look at that and go, why? When we're struggling for goals, that just doesn't quite make sense. But it's important to note, we don't see what goes on the training pitch and behind the scenes. That is important to say.
Yep, Harry, you're spot on. The January window will tell us all exactly what we need to know. Big up Michael 67801. Oh, that sounded like Les Mis. I nearly broke into song there. He says, what's your favourite 2025 moment apart from Bilbao? That's mine. Come on, you Spurs from KS. What's KS? I don't know what that is, but hello from KS. Maybe it's Kansas. Dermot, what's your favourite Spurs moment from last year? Apparently it can't be Bilbao, so that kind of narrows it down a little bit.
It does. Us winning the game last season. Oh no, I think my favourite point was going to the Palace game with Dave and the guys from the Kildare Spurs supporters group, and we spent 4 days. Me and Dave spent 4 days in London. Met Jack and Nick, and yeah, I think that would be my top moment. And going to the
Nice.
Palace game and being there with Philip Brady, and Philip Brady absolutely doing his nutting after the game, trying to calm him down. It was the funniest moment of the whole trip. He was losing his crap a bit. And the way it reminded me of the Father Jack. And if anyone watches Father Ted, you remember Father Jack? That was Philip Brady after the Palace game. It was just funny. I was just looking at him. Do you want to drink? But that was my best moment of 2025. Of course, Bilbao, but that was my best moment of 2025. I have to say.
Jim, you got a favourite Spurs moment from last year?
Probably Basuma's goal against Everton.
Oh yeah, because we was right behind it.
Might be on a goal and hit an absolute rocket in the top corner.
Yeah, that was a good
apart
goal.
from the Bilbao, there's not too much to shout about. Is that we beat City 4-0, we beat Villa 4-0. They were good highlights, but probably the Basuma goal against Everton.
Mine was when we went to see Tottenham play Ipswich and we got beaten, but then the lovely Mickey Hazard took us up and we met Aussie RD Ledley King and just had a bloody good time and completely forgot about the result. So I would say that is my favourite. Harry, what about you?
Hey, I've got loads on a personal note, but some that are linked to Spurs, like getting to interview Steve Perryman and Mickey Hazard, are right up there in my eyes. But in terms of Spurs on the pitch, and it is, you could argue actually it's on the pitch or not, and a lot of people are going to, think I'm just saying it for the sake of it, but, I think I might have the last laugh on this one, but I was saying when Thomas Frank come in the door, I think what he done at Brentford is, goes under the radar, and I know Tottenham's a big step up from Brentford. I know that, but I think he's absolutely within his capability to do so. He was known at Denmark, at Brøndby as the man that united the club. He was known as the man that brought hope. And I just think, right now, this fan base and this club ultimately can do with the fans and the players being more united, more on the same kind of level playing field, which is always difficult. As money's influencing the game. I just think Frank's the right manager for that. I know it's difficult for him to represent the club to Darius to do, but believe it or not, and I've said it so many times and I'll say it again, that, Frank, if you go back to Denmark or even if you go to Brentford, he was known as a possession-based attacking manager that would flex in game, that would sit back when necessary. But the point is, we're yet to see his real, and he hasn't got a real style. I get that, but we're yet to see what we can do going forward. And I think as A, because he doesn't know our best team, and B, because we're missing players that they're Frank players. Maddison's a Frank player like with Damsgaard. Solanke's a Frank player like he had with Tony. Bring those two back from injury, and I'd like to see Tottenham. I think time's needed. So, yeah, my moment would be when Frank walked in the door. And I like Dan's Postecoglou, by the way, and I think the comparison between the two isn't fair. I'm someone that didn't want Ange to leave in the moment because of the emotion and because of everything he'd done. I really liked him, right? And I see him as Tottenham Hotspur legend in my eyes. I know people wouldn't go that far, but even if you say Tottenham Hotspur, great. And I really like Thomas Frank as well. So let's, as fans, please stop comparing the two and just be able to appreciate both.
Yeah, exactly. I've just seen that Fulham have equalised against Palace as well.
1-1.
Go on, Jim.
Sorry, yeah, they just scored. Leslie Crawford put in the chat staying up.
Yeah, that was the highlight. I did see that. It did make me laugh. Dominic Solanke, I did see him training, but there's not too much
AI,
information.
Kate?
Yeah, it may well have been.
AI. It may be an AI.
I don't know what's going on there, but look, it's getting to that time of the show. Obviously, tonight at 7:45, you have got Brian Daigle and Ben doing the watch along for the game, but we are going to need your scores and who you think is going to score the goals. It's a tricky one because we're away, but at the same time, if anyone knows how to beat Brentford, it should be Thomas Frank, as we saw at our place. So, Harry, I'm going to come to you first. What score do you fancy tonight, and who's going to score the goals?
It'll be a really tough game. I'm not one of those fans that just goes, look, don't understand how well the opponent is doing at home. It'll be a tough game, and I'm not one of those that lives in a bubble. But I think Tottenham can win this game and will win this game. I'm always glass half full, which is important to note. So we'll go with 2-1 Spurs. Goals is difficult, like I said there. Jimbo's right. We shouldn't be thinking about these yellow cards, but it will cross the mind of Thomas Frank, who likes to, worry about these type of things. He's mentioned it so many times in his managerial career before. So it'll be interesting to see what the lineup goes with. I think, 2 goals and set pieces. It's Frank like we're struggling with build-up play at the moment, as I mentioned so many times, and boring step with it. We're struggling to create right now because the players are missing, because they find the best team and not find the right identity as a football club. We're struggling right now, but we need to build on that momentum against Palace. I actually think it was a decent performance. Yes, a competitive game, absolutely. I think we edged it in the end, and go back 5 years, no excuse that we win that game 3-0, fine margins. Jimbo's already hit the nail on the head again with that one. Hopefully, it'll change in time. But the point is, we need to start 2026 in the right way. It's not only the points on board, that's the number one and most important thing, but just to sit here and say, let's imagine, Kate, we win and keep a clean sheet, to say 2 wins in a row, 2 clean sheets. We started 2026, one of those games being in this year is just a perfect way to start the game. That's how I view it. But I do think 2-1 Spurs, not the clean sheet, but the win. But up the Spurs, and Happy New Year to everyone.
I'm going with the same scoreline as you, Harry. I think 2-1 Spurs as well. And I'm going to go for Richie to score 1. And I'm going to go for Van de Ven to get the other. Loves Tottenham says, let's win 2-1. Happy New Year all. 2-1 Spurs, Odebert and Richie and Thiago for them. 2-1 to us, Richie and Yanel own goal. We've got 2-1 to Brentford. Boo. 2-0. I don't know if that's to Brentford. 2-1 to Spurs, Odebert goal. 3-1 Spurs. Spurs win 2-1. Odebert gets 1 and Richie gets 2, but 1 gets disallowed. That's very specific. 1-0 Spurs own goal. Oh, gold. 3-1 Spurs. Van de Ven, Richie, Penn, and Porro. Oh, it'd be nice to get a penalty. We don't get them very often. Today is too risky. Says 1-1. Skunkwork says Head says 1-1. Hart says 2-1 Spurs. Dermot, how are you feeling about tonight's game? What do you fancy?
Head says a 2-2 draw, like we got when Ange's first game at Brentford. But my heart, which I am going to follow, I'm going for a 5-1 Tottenham win.
Bloody hell, 5-1.
We're going to turn up, new year, new Spurs, and we're going to batter them. I just wanted to get it in there before Jim got it in, so I'd love to see how Jim's going to beat that one. But yeah, goal scorers for me, I think Richie will get 2, Odebert will get 1, I think Palunia will get 1 as well, and Mickey van der Ven with a header. But look, I'm just, yeah, it must be New Year, me being delusional as always. So look, if it comes in, it comes out, but my head is saying 2-2. So please don't think I'm mad. My head is going 2-2, but I just follow my heart. So that's what I'm going for.
Someone said 5-0. I'll have a pint of whatever Dermot's drinking, please. Thank you very much.
Hey, it just gets me going. Just Tottenham.
To be fair, Dermot, anything could happen because it is Tottenham. Yeah. It could be 5-1 to us. It could be 5-1 to them. Who bloody knows?
Yeah.
And Jimbo, I know what you're going to go with. So enlighten everyone.
7-0.
You're not, you fibber.
No, I'm going to go with 2-0. I think it'll be the same scoreline as we beat them at our place. And I think Richie will get them both.
Oh, nice. Look, I don't care if it's 2-0, 1-0, 4-0, 10-0. As long as we win, that's all that matters. And if we can keep a clean sheet in the process, it will be amazing. And someone said earlier it's actually Vicario's 100th appearance for Spurs tonight. So, yeah.
That's gone quick.
I know, 5-1, New Year, same Dermo. Kudus to have 2 assists. Oh, no, don't say that. I'd love it to not be a boring game as well. That would be rather nice. A win and it'd be exciting. But look, it's been a brilliant show to get back on track and get the new year off to a great start. Please let it be a win. Harry, what's going on over? It seems there's loads going on over at Harry Scarf at the minute, but what's going on at the moment?
Firstly, thank you so much for having me. Always a pleasure to come on. And I said it a couple of times. I'll say it again. Happy New Year to everyone and their families. It's hope, it can be a great year for everyone listening and their loved ones, but also Tottenham Hotspur as well on the football pitch. Fingers crossed that's enough to make us all happy. But yeah, no, thank you. 2025 was a big year for me, if I'm honest with you, to win an award. It's just highlights, interview Steve Perriman, Mickey Hazard, loads of moments. They're just, I'd choose the biggest 3. So 2026 has a lot of work to put into to make it anywhere near the same, but I'm determined as always to make it better. That's just me. So no, thank you for having me. You can follow me at Harry Scarf 22 across all socials. Got my YouTube channel there, link there at Harry Scarf 22, and you now got Premier League podcast, the Tottenham podcast. There's 6 podcasts in total this week. We now cover news of every single Premier League club. It is of course a majority-based Tottenham channel, and I'll always use my channel to give those with learning disabilities an opportunity, and also away from that do some autism advocacy work, which I think is hugely important. I think it's something that gets forgotten about, drowned out, let's just say, with ever evolving problems in the world going into 2026. I think it's very important that those that have it tougher, those that need the support, get the support. So I use my platform as well. I'm glad to say over 70 people with learning disabilities I had on the channel that I know of that informed me in 2025. I'm determined to double that going into 2026. So that is my priority. But again, thank you so much for having me, and a massive common Spurs for tonight.
Brilliant. Harry, someone, Dan Gay is also someone who does wonderful work, says Harry's a role model to young people. 100% do go over and subscribe to Harry and give him some support. He's got a great channel going on over there, and there seems to always be something going on. So yeah, go over and subscribe. And then going over to someone that's been going quite a long time. I don't know how long you've been going, Derm, but
this year will be 5 years this year, this August.
Wow, 5 years. Wow, that is a long time. What's going on over at THFC Till We Die?
Yeah, look, we had a brilliant year on the channel last year. We really grew last season. So I'm really one of the 2026. My aim is to get the 3.5K by the end of the year. So that is my aim. We've got transfer stuff coming up, watch alongs, post-match, pre-match, loads of debate shows as well. We're really gonna double down on the channel this year. But look, I want to say big up to Harry because he is an inspiration to a lot of people. Even like he's so good with the autism side of it as well. Myself being autistic as well, it's a lot. It's very much inspirational what you're doing over there, Harry. And even for a bloke that's nearly 50 in 2027, you give me inspiration to do what I do. So keep up the great work, lad. And everyone do get over to Harry's channel. He does great stuff, and here as well. And if you've got a spare subscribe, please do mine as well. If you don't
Thank you. It's very kind. And you do some great content, by the way. And you say it how it is. I love it. You don't worry what people think. You just say it how it is. And, you speak a lot of facts as well. I agree with a lot what you say. So keep up the great work, mate. And Kate, can I just say, by the way, we're on that note. Sorry to interrupt, but you're a fantastic host. And, in 2025, a great host. And no, seriously, no, really good host at what you do. Yeah. And, wish you and Jimbo, your channel, all the success. And you're a great host on here. So, no, thank you for always having us as well.
Welcome. And I would like to echo that as well, that Kate and Jim do a fantastic job here. Every week they turn up and they're lovely people. They're the same on and off screen. I've met Kate and Jim, I think, off as well as on. They don't change. They're genuine people. And please give their channel a big boost up. And as well, Ben and Sim, thank you for giving me this opportunity. And Harry as well, coming on the mother of all Tottenham channels. So thank you very much.
Jim don't do nothing. He just
turns up.
Yeah.
You're my brother, though. Somebody says we're brothers, so you're my brother from another mother. So then we've got to stick together, Jim. We've got to stick together.
We need this level of positivity. Do you know what? Within the fan base, and in particular on Spurs YouTube, I think people try and find the negatives and everything. They love a platform to spout their nonsense, their conspiracy theories more than anything. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but it'd just be nice if we could be glass half full going into New Year. Smile a bit, appreciate the team, get behind the team. Because when things are struggling, right? What are we? 11th place. Let's get behind the team and change that. Let's work our way up the table. We can't do that by sitting here and grumbling. We can do that by singing our voices off and, supporting the team and backing the team. I just think, less complaining and more supporting the team.
Exactly that. Ben's just texted me to say that they're going live as soon as we finish because they're going to do a little chat about Brennan Johnson before. But look, if you do want to come over to Kate and Jimbo, I can't even tell you what to expect because you never know. You never know what to expect. All you will get is you'll get chill vibes. We always have a laugh, and you won't get any shouting unless Jim gives me the and I might nag him a little bit on screen. But apart from that, it's good vibes only. So yeah, do get over to Kate and Jimbo, also Harry and Dermot. Thank you for coming on. As always, it's a pleasure to share the screen with you all. Jimbo, I don't need to say thanks to you, but we're back tomorrow at 12:30 over on the channel as well, at lunchtime for our prediction show. Go on, Jim. What was you going to say?
I just want to say, someone said we can go 7th. Palace just got a point. So I think they're going to go 7th. I think we go 8th if we win.
But yeah, Harry's right. When things are good, when things are bad, it doesn't matter. You've got to get behind the team. That's what being a supporter is all about. But look, enjoy the match, everyone. We're back as well on Sunday for the pre-match pump up before the Sunderland game. Have a great evening. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Sorry, I did it and I didn't send up the outro. Can we just read? Sorry, let's just pretend that never happened.
Take
And
two.
as always, guys, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.